All right, Chris, let's start off with how gritty and realistic this movie is. It's awesome. Tell me about it.
Yeah, the film has excuse me. The film is like every other Michael Mann film that he's done, which is just absolute truth and detail and realism, as you can imagine. And you feel like you're watching a documentary at times. And that was what excited me about working with him was being able to work with someone who was always going to know more about the story in more detail than you ever would, and having that resource was just invaluable.
And talking about the realism, the locations, the way that he shot the locations and the way that you appear, especially through those really tiny streets of Hong Kong, is amazing. Can you tell me about some of the locations and working with that? Because it's almost as if they're a supporting character.
Yeah, absolutely. It was essential to shoot in those locations for Michael. We couldn't recreate the streets of Hong Kong in a backlot in LA. It would have been impossible. But I think what he's so aware of and is so great is that being a part of that atmosphere and being in that environment, you have a physical reaction to it. You when you're supposed to be sweaty and exhausted and hot and uncomfortable, you are, because you're in amongst that chaos, and you can't fake that. And so it's that was just such a luxury to be able to go to those locations and not be a part of a green screen or something, having to pretend, all of that.
And this is something completely different for you as well. Can you talk about why you chose this one?
Yeah, Michael Mann was probably the biggest reason I jumped on board. I then read the script and was fascinated by it and the subject, and knew nothing really about this world and this sort of digital world that we exist in. And I think I was a part of it as much as anyone else, but like most people, pretty limited knowledge on how it all works and how it is interconnected and how vulnerable our systems are and the potential sort of risks and threats. And it now there's a spotlight on the issue, obviously, with what's in the media, but all of that fascinated me when there was a chance to kind of delve into something new.
Now, we all know that you really get into character and you do a lot of research whenever you work on your movies. So would you call yourself an expert now when it comes to hacking?
No, I'd offend far too many people, and there's probably a few people out there who know I'm not. I came from this school of typing, the hunt and peck style. And then, so that was the first thing I had to learn how to type and touch type, and Michael would come in and watch and, don't look at the keyboard. And then diving into the world of code and hacking and trying to get my head around it and understand the language, and it was exhausting. I can't say I'm an expert on it, but I know a little more than I did before.
Mm-hmm. Now, there are a lot of movies out there in the theaters now, so can you give me a one-liner as to why everyone has to see Blackhat? Because it is so amazing, full of surprises. I loved it.
Yeah, I love the combination of themes that are in this film. There's action, but there's a romance, there's a thriller, it's a thinking movie, and it is as much detail as Michael Mann's ever put into anything, and I think if you have any interest in this subject or in a good story, then this is it.